according to intel sources, the presence of the Chinese survey vessel the Yang Yi Hao in Indian waters after Operation Sindoor serves multiple strategic objectives for China. According to sources, the vessel's mission is possibly to test India's maritime surveillance and response capabilities. China is trying to check gaps in India's ability to secure its waters. It's also trying to weaken India's credibility as a regional security provider. Akash joins us live on the broadcast to shed more light. Akash, if you could break down for us the multiple ways in which China is continuing to spy at a very critical time when we've seen tensions get ratcheted up between India and Pakistan.
This survey vessel is very much present in the Indian Ocean region, in the open sea, of course, but then, very close to the exclusive economic zone and also the coast of India. In fact, our investigation editor Manoj Gupta is bringing these details to us, that how this particular vessel, is in fact present, in the Indian Ocean region, very close to the Indian coast. Also, as far as China is concerned, so we know the intentions of China, we know the increasing dominance of China in the Indian Ocean region, and at a time when there are tensions between India and Pakistan, this survey vessel is possibly to test and in fact get some sort of information of the sort of protocols and information related to Indian Navy. We know that how the Western Fleet of Indian Navy is very much active and was very much active during Operation Sindoor. But this time around, this survey vessel, which is very close to the Indian coast, can be there to check the gaps. In fact, in the India's ability, the communication gaps or the sort of protocols that Indian Navy is using. Though it has been categorically mentioned by Indian Navy in the past that how Indian Navy is very much capable of monitoring any sort of movement that is happening in the Indian Ocean region. We know that how in the past, in fact, several sort of research and survey vessels have come, in the Indian Ocean region to possibly, carry out some sort of surveys, and in the garb of surveys, we know that how they are collecting data related to the network and in fact the submarine network of India. But then Indian Navy is, very attentive and in fact is monitoring the entire situation. We have been given to understand, not in this case, but in fact in general protocols, they monitor the situation, they monitor the movement, and this time around also they are monitoring the sort of movements that are happening in the Indian Ocean region. Akanksha.
Absolutely, and it's not the first time that China continues to send and dock its spy ships. We'll have to see how our naval forces act upon this development. Going to request you, Akash, continue to stay with us, getting in more breaking inputs. But before we bring those breaking inputs, Akash, if we could take this conversation forward, I want you to also shed light on how China continues to send these spy ships, not just in the Indian Ocean region, primarily the Indian Ocean region, because we've seen those similar reports doing the rounds prior to regime change in Sri Lanka as well, and how they continue to gather data. What is the idea behind sending these spy ships?
We have seen Yuan Wang, in fact, their research vessel, their ship, in fact, docking, in Malé, in the previous months. We know that how, in fact, Sri Lanka denied to the docking of any sort of research or survey vessel just few months back. And even then, they have been continuing the research work. You see, Akanksha, as far as Indian Ocean region is concerned, so it's a free, passage for anyone, any maritime domain force or maritime domain agency, can in fact practice, a free and fair Indian Ocean region and can pass through it. And, this is the reason possibly why we see, a number of Chinese ships, coming in this particular area. In the past, in fact, it has happened, you rightly pointed out. But as far as Indian Ocean region is concerned, so, a number of ships are present there. Along with, Indian Navy, there are several navies from across the world, who are in fact present there, are passing through it. In fact, these are global commons. It has been mentioned by Indian Navy Chief several times But that doesn't mean that Indian Navy is not keeping an eye on it. In fact, we have secure communication, secure network, and as far as our exclusive economic zone is concerned, so that is very much in our control. And area beyond that, in fact, is very much monitored by Indian Navy, and not just Indian Navy, but there are agencies, who are keeping an eye on developments. We know the intentions of China, but having said that, Indian Navy, in fact, is fully prepared for any sort of contingency or threat, or possibly the spying, that is suspected in this particular case. In fact, we have been given to understand that in the past as well it has happened. And whenever, things like such happen, we have agencies who are in fact monitoring the situation.
Right.
We have IFC IOR
Right.
that is in fact keeping an eye on all these developments.